crossed, everything works out okay, because I got to do something. I mean, I can't just, you know, everybody.
This is what happens when you're like, your car is so nicely done for, you know, I would just say it's done, but obviously you get bored of the power, you get bored of the same.
Well, I mean, I want other cars also, but the other thing is,
that's so good. That's so good. Are you sure it's a Honda? Because I hear the engine in the back. That's so good. Oh, I love it. All right, everyone, welcome back to Automotive Anatomy. Today we have Anthony. Anthony, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for driving out here, man. Tell us, what do you drive?
well, I drive a 2001 Acura NSX.
Man, before we get into this beautiful build, tell us a little bit about yourself, like a little bit in the history. How did you start liking cars? When was that moment?
Oh man, I've been into cars since I was a kid, actually. I mean, you know, Hot Wheels back in the day. So as I grew up, I would read magazines, you know, whatever I can do to get into something. So back in the day, Hondas were big, and my mom bought a Honda Civic, and that's what sparked the interest in Hondas, and I just went from there. I had a Honda Civic EF, and that was my car I modified.
How old were you when you first got it?
17.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so by then you said you were kind of intaking all of this information via magazines, right?
Yeah, because magazines were the thing back then. There was no such thing as the internet. So this was back in like 89, 90. So that's when I got the car. I had an EF Civic that most people would love to have right now, but I wish I still had it. But yeah, just that, I started modifying that. I started, you know, buying wheels, buying, back then that was pretty much all you can do. But yeah, it was just a fun little thing to do. Stumbled upon street racing one day in a magazine at a store in Little Tokyo, and man, that changed my world right there.
Changed your world.
Changed my world. I mean, I went from lowrider car shows to street racing. That's where I got into street racing. So eventually, yeah, I fixed that car up, ripped the tin off, put I think I bought a HKS exhaust for it, and took the wheels that I had off of it, put the stocks back on, look for CRX stocks. You know, that's actually still big now, but yeah, did that back in the day, put the stocks back on it, put an exhaust, lowered it, took the tin off. Yeah, I had a system in the car before, took the system out because it's too heavy. Did all that, so that's where it sparked. And yeah, and then one day, man, I was looking into street racing, looking at, trying to find it, whatever. Commerce, the city of Commerce, on the backside, actually it's like behind the police station. They Randolph.
Oh, the OGs know where this is at. Yeah,
they used to street race on Randolph. So dude, one day I pull up, and sure enough, like midnight, all kinds of cars start coming up, and a bunch of Hondas. And I was like, dude, what the hell, dude? Now that was the defining moment.
Is that right?
Was like, oh dude.
And at the time you had the EF still?
Had the EF,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that just, man, that
I'm taking my system out today.
Bro, that changed my life, bro. I was in the back, like the parking lot up on the top, and I was looking down like,
how
dude,
cool.
Where am I? Like, it felt like
so cool.
Now when you look at videos of like in Japan and stuff, like that's what I felt like I was in. Like, dude, I'm like, this is crazy. So from that moment on, I had my old friends that I grew up with, and then you know, met new friends through the street racing and stuff. But yeah, after my EF, I ended up getting a DC Integra, an LS Integra, and that turned into my street racing car. You know, like we were talking about before, the heated springs, the cut coils, you know, threw an exhaust on it. That car eventually became a semi-built motor.
Oh, really?
And then there was tracks too back in the day. So, you know, Brotherhood Raceway used to have a quarter-mile track. We used to be able to run at Pomona. We used to be able to do that. So, and then we used to have Battle of the Imports and all that stuff up in Palmdale. So, dude, all that stuff was...
That's cool.
You know, back in the day, my Integra probably... at its fastest point, probably ran in the high 13s.
It would kill me if they couldn't hear this car. That's why. That's what it is. Yes.
Yep.
And I just remember. Different steering wheel, huh?
Yeah, I have,
Wow.
I have about 6 different steering wheels, so whichever.
People are gonna be tripping out that way. I'm not gonna say. They'd be like, he's searching. I noticed that I won't be showing because I'm not behind the camera, but you will be. They're for sure different steering wheel. He did that during the break.
So yeah, I dropped coffee on my white shirt, so I had to change it.
There you go. Oh man. For how low it is, it's so comfortable, dude. Wow. You're saying it's not fast, but it really is fast. It's fast.
It's quick. It's not fast. Like it doesn't have that like there's cops everywhere in the street. So it doesn't have that that like neck snapping, you know, like acceleration that modern cars have.
Right.
But I mean, it goes. Once you're in higher RPMs, it definitely.
I mean, if you had a snail or a supercharger, it may have that snappy feel that you're talking about.
Yes.
But for what it is, this is great.
So yes. So that supercharger that you're talking about, that's been in my garage for a year, is definitely something that needs to be put on here, just to make it a little bit more fun.
I mean, I like the reliability of it. How fun it is as NA, and it's stock. You know?
So, yes,
stock.
Yes. So that is one of the reasons why I've been holding off so long, just because I like to drive this thing everywhere. I go all over the place. I like to canyon the car, so I am really skeptical about, you know, whether or not it's going to be as reliable when the supercharger goes on. But you know, people say that as long as it's done right, you know, you can put 10, 20,000 miles on it before anything needs to be serviced. So the name of this car, because it's Sinister NSX, came from back in my street racing days. Me and some of my friends, we made racing crew, Sinister Racing. That was the racing crew. We were out of Southgate Auto. I lived down the street in Cudahy. You know, most of my friends lived in the area, Huntington Park, Southgate, all that. So yeah, that was just, you know, my buddies had Civics, Preludes. Owner of the shop had a bunch of different cars, but yeah, we just our main thing was the street, you know, take it out to the street, go make a couple of bucks, have some fun. Yeah,
because I mean, you've been through a lot of Hondas, right? And so how do we stumble upon the NSX? That's a big jump.
Well,
kind of, right?
The evolution of owning cars is, you know, you always want to get something better. So, you know, as I was, you know, working, making more money, you know, I figured out that, hey, you know, I could probably afford one of these cars. And back in the day, I was into BMWs.
Okay.
So I had a couple of BMWs, and when I decided like in 1999, I think I was just like, you know, I'm going to look up NSXs. I'm going to see how much they are. Boom. They gave me a loan, and I was like, bam.
You ran out of the bank.
Dude, I bought my first NSX back, I don't know.
Oh, so this is not your first NSX?
No, this is my second one. Oh. So I had one like 17, 18 years ago.
Okay.
So I don't know.
And how long did you keep that for?
1 year. So
okay.
Reason why I had it for only 1 year, because the car was black. It's a black NSX, all bone stock, nothing done to it. The problem was, back in the day, there was no such thing as quick detailer, or, you know, every time I drove the car, I had to bring it home and wash it. Because, you know, you don't want to drive this car around all dirty and stuff.
You're OCD.
So I am. But, you know, you don't want to drive the car around. It's black. So you don't want to drive it around all dirty. So you go through an intersection and the water gets on the side. The car looks horrible. So I would have to wash it every time. Bro, I got so tired of that. Like, I didn't want a black car, like, at all, ever, anymore, because of that experience. And that's the reason why I sold it, because I sold it. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to sell it, and I'm just going to pick up another color. I was like, man, you know, I told my wife, like, I need like a project, you know, do you mind if I like look around and get something? But little did she know it was going to be something like this, because she probably would have told me, no. She probably would have said, hell no. So anyway, I ended up finding. I ended up going through a couple of different things. I was trying to buy. I was trying to buy an early model, like a 91, 92, just to save money, so I could put more money into the car.
Right. There's no real saving, but somehow we justify it. We understand.
So yeah, because obviously I was married now, so I can't I can't justify spending this kind of money on a car.
Well, we can, but now we have to explain it to somebody else instead of just ourselves.
Well, that was the problem that I had, because back in all growing up, I didn't get married till I was older. So back when I was growing up, it was just me. Like I wanted to buy something, boom, I go buy it.
Yeah, like a group meeting with yourself.
Yes,
sounds like a good idea. Anthony,
yeah, I want that.
Do it.
I'm gonna buy it.
All right, I gotta prove.
So I got in trouble like the first year, 2 years into my marriage, because I'd be like buying stuff, and my wife, she'd be like, "Well, it's not just you anymore. Like this is."
No, you can get in the car too.
Yeah. So, dude, I went through. I think I'm still going through it. As a matter of fact, like it's just.
She watches. He's like, "What do you mean you weren't? Now you're still the same, dude."
I'm still going through it, but
I love it.
You say you want other cars? What other cars would you get?
So I mean, I want Porsche. I want a Skyline. I want to. I want to have different cars for different things, for different reasons. This car was. I kind of built it as, a show car, and then I started driving it, and I started enjoying driving it. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about whether it gets a nick or scratch or something. I'm just going to drive it. So, my wheel wells right behind the wheels are destroyed from the canyon driving.
Nice.
So, stuff you can't see really unless you really focus on it. So, but I did clear brawl the whole front of the car. So, for that reason,
smart.
And I do have a bunch of marks on there, so I know, man, that paint would have been.
It was a good investment.
Oh, dude, for sure. But yeah, it's never done. Even though I want other cars, this one still. I want to work on the suspension. Obviously, different wheels. There's always different wheels I want to try.
Would you go more of do you have to stick with 3-piece because of how wide the
no,
fender?
No, not at all.
You can go.
No, because I have a set of TEs that I have on it that I actually use those to track too.
And the fitment's okay?
Fitment is perfect. No spacers, no nothing.
What is the specs on those?
So I run a 18-inch square, so it's a 18 by 9.5 and an 18 by 10.5. So they fit perfect. Tires fit perfect. Most people that run NSXs run a staggered wheel set, so they'll run like a 17-18 or 18-19, which I used to do when the car was stock body.
Okay.
But when I went to wide body, for some reason, I don't know, I didn't like the way the 19-inch looked in the rear. It just looked too like show car-ish, and I wanted it to look more race car-ish. So
was that because you couldn't put a bigger tire?
No, well, yeah. I mean, you definitely have to put a 30 series tire when you're running a 19 in the rear. So
that's why it maybe gave you a little funky look.
Yeah. Well, to me, to anybody else, it probably looked fine, but to me, it just didn't look right to me. So I dropped down to the 18-inch rear, and when I saw it, I was like, it looks a little too small.
Okay, gotcha.
But the reason why it looks a little too small is because of the body kit. Like the way this body of this car is, the front of the car is really small, and then it grows bigger in the rear. So
and then add flares to that.
Yes, and then you add the flares.
Body,
so,
Tell us about the front end. What do you got going on, Anthony?
So the body kit, the whole body kit is a Marga Hills body kit, which is the old school JDM company. And they actually built these and raced the NSXs on the circuit over there in Japan. So they actually used this body kit and wind tunnel tested all that stuff that they do over there. So the body kit was actually off of, they started selling them to the public. So front bumper, front fenders, side skirts, rear quarter panels, and the rear spats are all Marga Hills. Marga Hills actually makes a hood that looks like this, but they don't make it for the left-hand drive version. So this is actually a Root KS GT hood, which is obviously they made it for the left-hand drive. So it kind of resembles the Marga Hills one, which I was trying to keep it looking like. And then then these Ganador mirrors. They're like super rare, super hard to find. And then of course now somebody 3D printed the things and are making them, so people have all kinds of fake stuff now. So, but that took me like over 2 years to find those mirrors. And
can you actually see through them?
I can now. So there's a company in Germany that makes convex glass, and it goes onto there, so I could finally see out of the passenger or the right side. And this one I could always see out of. The driver's side you could always see out of. It's just you didn't see the regular, like the version of the mirror, like it brought everything closer, like I don't know what, but so yeah, I mean it works. They work. But that was like one of the mods. That, and then all my ARC parts were pretty much the things that, you know, I had to have. Those were like the I have to have parts, and it just everything else kind of fell into place. But
and then the color of the car.
So this is the stock color. This is a Silverstone metallic. Ooh. So this came on S2000s. It came out in I think it came out in 2000. So yeah, so I kept the stock color just because I have so many open, you know, the vent in the hood is so aggressive, and then my engine bay is exposed. You'll see in a minute it's exposed. So I didn't want to pull everything out and like paint everything, because for me, like if my car was going to be white and then the inside was going to be silver, that would have just been
not
unacceptable.
For you. Unacceptable. There you go. Okay. And then tell us about the suspension. What do you have going on?
So it has a BC Racing coilover kit with Swift springs and a Stance Parts cup kit. So the cup kit is obviously not for driving, it's for getting over obstacles, driveways, potholes, all that stuff. Yeah, so it's I can't drive with it in the up position. So this is the way I drive it. This is the way
this is really low, man.
Yeah, so it
really low for a car like this. Like,
and then the problem with this car, I mean, it's actually sitting a lot lower than it looks, because there is a little tiny bit of a gap. So the thing with this car, because they used it on the race cars, I don't know if you noticed with race cars, but the fenders are cut super high.
Yes.
So when you come into the pits and you lift the car up, you can pull the tires off, and you know you don't have your tires tucking into the fenders like we like, because I would love my tires to tuck in the fender just because it makes it look a little more aggressive. But this car, the fenders in the front and rear are cut so high that when I took the car out of the body shop, I thought they did something to the suspension. I was like, what? Why is the car so high? Like, it was like sitting almost 2 inches higher than when I sent it into the body shop when it had the stock fenders.
That's weird.
So to compensate, I obviously had to slam it down, you know, another like 8 to 10 coils. I had to lower it or turns. And when I took it out to drive, so the car actually in this configuration right now, so the frame of the car actually hits the tire when I'm driving. So it you know, when I hit little dips and stuff, or when I'm driving fast on the freeway.
Interesting.
So the problem with that is, you know, I can't get away with that unless I lift the car up. But you know, you gotta have a certain look.
None of us Accord dudes know this problem.
Well, I didn't know the problem until I put this damn kit on there. So I just, but you know, I grew up with slammed Hondas. Like, that's just, every car that I had was slammed. All, you know, so I had to have it low.
We agree, man. It looks amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you go wide body. You don't notice it, but the thing is, like, it looks OEM, so that means that you guys did it right. It's incredible how clean and simple it looks. Yeah, we know that there's been a lot of work to it. Wheel and tire setup, what do you have going on?
So this is a BBS LM. They're 18-inch all the way around. Custom barrels. Done by AR in Pasadena. They did a custom color for me, so I just wanted it to be a little bit different, obviously, and then have the gold hardware just so it stands out a little bit. So this was like my car show wheels, I guess. Those are the ones that are the little blingy wheels that I have.
They're very nice, man.
But yeah, so they're 18, probably like 18 9.5s in the front, 18 by 10.5s in the rear, or 18 by 11s in the rear. And it's a super aggressive set of wheels, so I mean, it's great.
It looks
like
great.
Everywhere. Yeah,
we love it.
It looks.
I know
good.
it's not comfortable for you, but
dude, let me tell you, bro. I mean, I just took it to the canyons a couple of weeks ago, and you know, it rubs, and you know, when you're diving into the corners, and when you're making those turns at high speed, it's not the ideal wheel set to have on there, and I do have a set of, you know, lighter weight wheels that are more ideal for the canyon driving, but I didn't have time to switch them out, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave these on and go at it, and you know, BBS LMs, that's like a motorsport wheel anyway.
Yeah,
so you know, it's definite. But for this car, because you know, multi-piece wheels on this car, you know, this car doesn't make a lot of power, doesn't make a lot of torque. So the reason why you see a lot of TEs, CEs, you know, wheels like that on cars like this is because, dude, they're lightweight. Those wheels weigh nothing. They're light, they're strong, and you know, when I put those wheels on here, the car feels faster.
You feel the
because you feel a difference because of the rotating weight. So, and then the tires that I have on here, I have a Toyota tire sponsorship. So these are the all-season tires because the tire shortage. I couldn't find, you know, I couldn't get the tires that I wanted, so this is all they had at the time. So
they still look great. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
they're not the art compound and all that stuff, you know, like, but this looks great. Yeah.
But you know what? That makes a difference though, man, because
it does.
when you see the 888Rs, which I had on here before, when you see those tires, man, it just those tires it just makes the car look more aggressive.
Super.
And
performance, obviously.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, definitely makes a difference in the performance. But still, you know, I wanted it to have the look, and I wanted it to have, and of course I couldn't find any of the tires, so this is what I ended up with.
No, it looks great, man. I mean, by no means does it look bad. It just, I get where you're coming from, and then the wide body on it it's incredible. You guys did an amazing job. Tell us about the wing.
So the wing is a Voltex GT wing in carbon fiber, made specifically for the NSX. I am not a fan of big GT wings.
Are you sure?
Well, so
not that big.
If the car was like stock body NSX, it would never have this wing on it. I would never put a GT wing on a stock body, a car in general. Like to me, it just, I mean, I love race car. I'm into motorsports. I love racing car. I mean, that's what I follow. That's my sport. So, but it just, if you want to have a car and have a GT wing on it, then it better look the part. Like it better have that wide body, that stance. It better have, you know, aggressive wheels. It better, you know, you gotta complete and complement the look of it.
Yeah, a lot of us understand what you're saying. We understand. Yeah.
You know, everyone's taste is different. Obviously, you know, some people just love those wings. They love to put stuff like that on there. And hey, your car, you do whatever you want.
You're describing all the Integra owners.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to the homies.
Hey, I am still an Integra owner, so I'm not trying to start no beef on the internet here. But
it's really the Acura owners. Yeah. Okay, so tell us about the back. It's extremely. I would say, I don't know if the word subtle comes to mind, but it's not too much out there, but it looks aggressive. And I think the thing with a lot of cars is you can nail the front, but sometimes the back is where, you know, kind of, you're like, I could have done this. To me, it's a perfect balance. It gives it this extremely aggressive look. Obviously the car sounds amazing, and we'll discuss the exhaust, but you've done a great job to find that beautiful medium where it's not over the top, but it's still very subtle, kind of what you just discussed.
So again, when I was building the car, I wanted to have a wide body, but I didn't want it to lose the lines of an NSX. I wanted it to be aggressive, but still look like an NSX. I wanted it to, so that's where I came up with this. So the back bumper is actually from Sorcery. Sorcery builds their own wide body kits, and to me Sorcery is like the best body kit made for these cars. What I tried to do, Mike at MFR did custom aero pieces for me, so the diffuser here was custom built. Companies do make this. There is like some carbon or companies that make diffusers out in Japan, but you know, again, some of the people out here already had everything, so I kind of wanted it to be a little bit different. I wanted it to be you know, my own style, and what I wanted really was my exhaust. I wanted it to be like a picture window for the exhaust, because the exhaust is a titanium ARC exhaust. So that I wanted to be like a showpiece. I wanted it to be like, yeah. So, and that was the reason why. So when I found this bumper, I saw the bumper with that little cutout in it, the little vents. I was like, oh man, that would, you know, if I paint that black, it would kind of, you know, tie into the look that I'm looking for and create that little picture window. And that's kind of where I went with it.
And it did, man. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I wanted it to, again, still be clean. And another thing with this kit, so this kit doesn't look like this when you get it, when you buy it from Japan. So they build this kit so you can use it on stock body and on wide body. So when I say that, like, so these pieces here, when you first put the kit on, they don't line up at all, because this rear spat goes in probably about maybe an inch, maybe more than an inch. The same with the side skirts, because you want to be able to use them with the stock body. So obviously if they're sticking out like that, it would look pretty stupid. So the rear spats and the side skirts, they actually go in almost like more than an inch probably. And
stock body, yeah.
So what I had the body shop do, because this is how the quarter panels come, so I had them mold and had them you know, clean the lines basically, just to make it look a little bit cleaner. Because again, I wanted the car to go, I wanted to be able to go to car shows, Cars and Coffee, you know, wherever I wanted to go. I wanted it to just look nice. I wanted it to look the part. So, and that's where I had, they did extensive work, DTM and El Monte. They did extensive work on the body kit to make it fit like this.
And then OEM.
Yeah, and then, dude, I mean, the lines, they did excellent work. So wow,
I had zero idea that that's what it took.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, they spent the car. So the car went to SEMA in 2019 for MFR for the Aero kit. So incredibly thankful for Mike for even taking the car there, and it went to SEMA. So the car had to be finished fast. So the body shop was like working on it, you know, trying to get it done. You know, that SEMA crunch that everybody talks about that they're going through right now. So. But I was like, man, I can't, you know, it has to be the way I want it. Like, if it's going to come out of the shop, it has to be, you know, it has to be lined up. It has to be, you know, so the kit still is not perfect. The fitment on the kit is not perfect. And that's, you know, things that can be addressed, you know, when I have it refreshed, I guess. But yeah, I wanted it to have a certain look. I wanted it to be clean. I wanted it to be, you know, just a car show car and a driver. I wanted everything. I wanted it to be all in one. So
I wanted everything. You got everything.
Yeah, I wanted everything.
I love it, dude.
Yeah. So to me, the 17-inch front wheel just fit too. It just looked too small.
Yeah.
Even though it, you know, you put a bigger tire, it still looks okay. But just to me, I was just trying to get the right look for what I wanted, and I just wanted to stick with the 1818 and go from there. But I did have a 19 on this actually this year from one of the car shows.
Okay.
I did a BBS LM 1819, and I drove on it for a minute, and then I took it out.
You drove to the show and then came back
and I took it off, and then I had these wheels. So I had that 18-inch. I have them swapped out, so I swapped my 19 for an 18.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
so 18 seems to be the sweet spot for you.
For me, yes. So
and then you probably start playing around with the tire size.
So the problem with the 18-inch on my front is nobody makes a tire to fit. Well, I shouldn't say nobody makes a tire. No one makes like a sticky, like good compound tire. So I have to run like a sport tire in the front, which I don't like.
Gotcha.
I like the way the R compound tires. Like, yes.
Yep. The way they air up. Yep.
So for that, I have to get a 1718 because they make a 17-inch tire, perfect size, and then the rear is no problem. But
see, this is not a problem that us everyday Joe have. You know. We don't have to deal with none of this, man. This is a whole different.
But you know what? Everyone goes through that. Everyone with their Civics, their Accords, you know, everyone has everyone wants the perfect fit, the perfect tire size, the perfect look, you know, you want the perfect everything. So
obviously the outside looks the par, Let's check out the interior, Anthony. Oh man, this design is incredible. Wow.
So yeah, it looks like old school Honda technology right there.
I don't know about old school. I haven't seen one single Honda that looks like this, man. It looks so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Ahead of its time for sure.
I think they what their thing was back in the day was they designed it after like a F-16 fighter jet or something cockpit. So the visibility is actually really good when you're sitting in the car. The only thing is you're sitting super low. I mean, you
like
feel like you're
low
on the floor. Yeah.
I love that. But
Yeah.
still, yeah, it's pretty scary when you're like next to an 18-wheeler.
Yes, exactly. So that's the reason why I mean, I love to drive the car. Obviously, I take the car out as much as possible. But as far as like nighttime driving and stuff, I try not to take it out just because, dude, people can't see you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like modern SUVs,
Yeah.
I'm lower than their window sill. You know,
Yeah.
So, you know, when people don't pay attention these days and they're texting, I don't want them crashing into me. So
Makes sense.
yeah, so I just so the little things I've done in here, obviously Studio RSR built me a cage, and the car went to when it went to SEMA, they built it for that, and the cage and the engine brace actually bolt together in the middle of the car to create the
Wow.
to stiffen up the chassis a little bit. And this car being a 2001, it is a Targa top. So this Targa here is actually real carbon fiber. So the top was replaced, and there's a company that makes parts for NSXs, and he had some parts lying around, and I ended up picking up that. And the interior, the roll cage, the pole position Recaros, those were the most comfortable seats I ever sat in, and my big butt can actually fit in it. So I was good with that. And I haven't really done too many crazy mods. I mean, the Honda navigation pod, you know, that's just to house like aftermarket stuff. The update the screen so you can have different stuff on there that we didn't have back in the 90s that when the car came out. And Chasing J's actually did the titanium in where the speedometer's at.
Okay.
And then ARC parts, the shift plate and the shift knob, ARC. The mats are Caro mats, which were for Japan only. And there was a company out here in the States that I guess had them make some for left-hand drive cars. And so they did a little run of them, and cool. I was able to pick up a set. So
shoot.
Yeah, so that was a good thing. And then again, like the interior, like I said before, cars are never done. It's never done. So I'm not done with it, but I just I hate to have the car down. Like I hate to have it in the shop. I like to drive it. So there's little things that I have there. I have a garage still full of parts that I have. I have like audio parts that I haven't put in it. Have a supercharger in a box in my garage that I've had for almost a year now.
No.
So it's just things that I don't want to have the car down. So I'm like, should I put it in? Should I put it in now? Should I put it in later?
Now?
Yeah. So I mean, of course, yeah, I want to do it now, 100%. But then I also, when I put a supercharger on here, I have to get rid of some of the stuff that I have on here. So.
Get rid of it. I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, so what I tried to do with the car was, so ARC, the parts that are in here they're made specifically for the NSX, but
let's talk engine.
They don't make those parts anymore. So it actually took me some time. The ARC plate, I mean, that took me over 2 years to find one.
Wow.
And they make two different versions, which I owned both of them. And they, it's just almost impossible to find stuff like that. So I tried to get every ARC part possible. So with the exhaust, the airbox, all the caps, all the, shift, the intake plate. I also have a ARC radiator. I also have a ARC oil pan.
Wow.
And So, you know, I try to collect every single part, and unfortunately when the supercharger goes on there, the plate goes away because the supercharger sits on top of it. So, I mean, not the deal killer or anything. It's not like I don't want to do it, but yeah. But you know, I just
I get you.
You collect,
keep as is, and
you collect these rare parts. You don't want to lose them.
No, I understand. Keep as is. I mean, it's great.
But no, it's definitely going to get it's going to get some stuff put in it soon. It definitely needs a little bump in power just to try to keep up with the modern cars these days. But
so is the car completely stock?
No, it does have full bolt-ons. I do have web cams, so that's another thing that's it's
this guy. Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, so I mean, I tried to focus on the visual first before the engine. And also because the motor, I need like, you know, these Honda motors, timing belt, water pump always need to be changed. So before I decide to do the supercharger and all that stuff, I wanted to make sure to do all that stuff at the same time. So I'm still on a, you know, so I want to have the clutch changed out. You know, I want to put a more aggressive clutch, you know, lighter flywheel, you know. So as you can see, I got a little rock collection in here, and that's from the canyon driving.
I bet it's killing you.
No, I mean, I don't care. The thing is that because of the aftermarket fenders, you know, they don't have like a seal. Yeah, and then because it has a wide body, I don't have fender liners in it.
Of course.
So when I'm driving through, you know, the canyons, obviously driving through the streets, freeways, whatever, I end up with the rock collection when I get home. So,
which is scary because if it's here, that means that it also makes its way to the engine compartment, and that's super scary.
I mean, hopefully, God forbid anything happened to it, but you know, I'm not gonna not enjoy it. Yeah,
then you just go okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, something like that.
So, and then before you close it, let's see your setup. Wow, it's very clean.
So that's just the stance parts, the air kit, the cup kit. So I have it on all four corners, and then that little bar is just to hold it when I'm doing my aggressive driving, so it doesn't roll all over the place.
Very, very.
But
nice.
yeah, I try to keep it that NSX. That's the mat that comes on the cars, which are very valuable these days. If you could find something like this, and I have it nice and clean.
Anthony, thank you so much for making the time for us, man. This car is I don't know other than immaculate, and just the fact that you drive it. Thank you for sharing your story. It goes to show you there's somebody out there that, you know, at some point had an EF and now they drive an NSX. They're gonna relate to you. They're gonna be like, wow, how, you know, we share that passion. And to anybody out there who owns an NSX or, you know, is thinking about owning an NSX, I think you can definitely share some wisdom and some motivation towards that goal, because it's amazing that these cars were built in the 80s and 90s, like you mentioned. They're definitely ahead of its time, man. So thank you so much for continuing to have this beautiful platform on the road. Any shout outs? Yes,
so first and foremost, my wife for putting up with all my all of this
craziness.
Yeah, and my multiple other cars that I've had throughout the time that we've been together. So yes, thank you very much for that. But yeah, so Jason at Genesis obviously does a lot of work for me. He's my shop to go to. He's the Honda and Acura specialist. Jonathan at Entice done some work for me. DTM did the body work for me. Legends West did the clear bra and, you know, helped me out. Rev Auto does all my auto care. And then, you know, I can't name all the shops that help me, but, you know, just mostly, you know, my friends, my old school friends from Sinister Racing, we all, you know, we all still share the passion. A lot of us have cars still, and want to, you know, thank all of them for all the fun times. And
man, that's crazy. There's so many people, I'm sure, you know, and you're gonna be like, oh, I forgot to mention so and so.
Toyo Tires for the tire sponsorship. Yeah, so
the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with a car like this, though, it's bound to happen. It's incredible, man, what you've done with it. Like, seriously, it's super cool. I know we were joking that I don't like NSXs. It's not that I don't like them. It's just not my first choice, you know. If I had extra money, yes, give them to me. They look amazing.
You know, but it's
let me clear the air.
Another thing on these cars, though, like, though, you have to be like a Honda person though. Like you have to have grown up with Hondas, because like I've explained to people before, I know we're getting sidetracked again, but how we've explained to people, I've explained to people before, like NSXs are not, like if you can afford an exotic car, you're not gonna buy an NSX.
No.
You're gonna buy a Ferrari, Lamborghini, a Porsche, because you had to have grown up with Hondas to appreciate what they've become. And that's where I try to explain to people, because they're like, oh, why are they not popular? And then there's so many other people, you know, people like Supras and RX-7s and Skylines, and I love those cars too, don't get me wrong. I would love to have all of the cars in the, you know, the 90s, but it's just something about a mid-engine rear-wheel drive. It doesn't have a ton of power, but it does everything well. And that's Honda. It's reliability. It's, you know, it's fun to drive, and that's why I'm here.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for the time, man. I appreciate it, and can't wait to see you at future events.
Yes, thank you, man. Thanks for inviting me out.